Welcome to a new episode of End of the Week. I go by the name of Jameson, and here is where we talk about things that happened during the week, whether it was outrageous, surprising, loving, caring, responsible, or the complete opposite. If I want to talk about it, we'll talk about it here. So let's talk about this shit. First off, number one thing that I want to talk about this week is the NFL draft. As you can see, I'm decked out. You see that? Yeah. This is a Deion Jordan jersey. The last time the Dolphins picked in the top 5, to my knowledge, was to pick this man. It was a complete bust. So, I'm really hoping that the selection of Tua and the multitude of other players that the team drafted, we finally have something going. I have been stuck as a Dolphins fan in this endless wave, this endless river of mediocrity. Every single year is either 7-9, 8-8, 9-7. A couple years there we were 10-6. And made the playoffs even, just to go in there and shit the bed. It is what it is. I've been a loyal fan for my entire fucking life. And then now they have really focused on building something that has been gone this entire time. An offensive line. You would watch a lot of games, there would be no offensive line. I'm serious. You watch some games, it's not even there. There it goes. So now we have a quarterback. Hopefully he doesn't get injured. And hopefully the trenches are all figured out. Now, I do believe that we still need some more edge rushers here in the future, but what we got right now should be cool. I believe in Brian Flores. I believe in a lot of things the Dolphins are doing. Now, if you don't want to talk about the Dolphins, I'm talking about the other things that happened in the draft, okay? Can you believe what happened with Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers? They traded up to the number 26 pick in order to draft Aaron Rodgers, heir apparent. The next few years will be a backup. This man, Aaron Rodgers, sometimes would have to... He's always carried this fucking franchise. And this was the one year maybe he didn't carry the team all the way throughout the entire season. So they thought, man, we are one game away. Just one game away. Hey, this is probably how it went down. I'm here to tell you that we're going to go in a different direction. Since you have fallen off that cliff, we will be, in fact, drafting a quarterback in the first round. And not only that, but we will be trading other assets. We'll be using that to trade up to get that quarterback. So that's less weapons for you. And, as you know, we've done everything possible to make sure that this team is successful for you. We've given you plenty of weapons, given you the best running backs, best wide receivers, clearly one of the best offensive lines in football, and cannot stress enough how much we have invested in that defense and how well we have built that up. So we realize that these losses are on you, A.A. Ron. And we'd love to have you here for probably a couple more years, but after that we have this young stud, Jordan Love, that we're absolutely in love with. Now we know you're a Hall of Fame quarterback. You can take over any game that you want, basically. You're one of the best to ever do it. But we think this Jordan Love kid, easily Hall of Fame. Go. You're way better than you even right now. But we'll let you do what you got to do with the weapons that we have given you, the great weapons that we have given you. And, man, ready for the next season? That bad man, Aaron Rodgers, now has to deal with Jordan Love over his shoulder. Now everybody realizes, man, that they did this to Brett Favre. Brett Favre also threatened retirement like 45 times. And he came back like 45 times. So, of course, they have to take... And, man, this dude Aaron Rodgers was just in the NFC Championship. And everybody knows. And if you can't tell me that you don't see this, that loss, man, was not on him. If you really can't see that, you must be drinking that yak all day, every day, 25/7. 25/8 is what I meant to say. 24/7. We're going to cut that. It just really sucks to see teams like the Buccaneers and the Saints investing in their Hall of Fame quarterbacks to make sure that they have the best weapons around them possible in order for them to succeed. Whereas the Packers think, oh man, we did this to Brett Favre and we found Aaron Rodgers. This is the perfect situation to do this. Even though quarterbacks are now playing until the age of 45 at a high level, we should definitely kick Aaron Rodgers out of town within the next 2 years. All of the problems that we had in that NFC Championship game was on Aaron Rodgers. Fuck it. Let's kick him out. We need someone more electric than Aaron Rodgers. more electric than Aaron Rodgers? There's only one other motherfucker in this goddamn league more electric than Aaron Rodgers, and that is Patty Mahomes. But that's not who we're talking about right now. And you know what, man? Actually, we're talking about Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, the best quarterback in the league. He has the potential to be the GOAT. But goddamn, that motherfucker got weapons too, man. There's no doubt in my mind that he can take a Packers team to the Super Bowl, to a championship game, conference championship game like Aaron Rodgers does. But goddamn, what takes that man over the top is a good team around him. Players can carry teams on their back sometimes, but at the end of the day, there are 52 other motherfuckers on that team, man. You need help. You need good, stable teamwork. And you can't have that if you're mad at the team. And if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I would be furious. They have not drafted a skill position player on offense in the first round since they drafted Aaron Rodgers. That is unbelievable. Green Bay, get your shit together, man. I feel bad for that man, Aaron Rodgers. I hope you find a new home, sir, and get yourself another ring, because you deserve it. And let's just talk about the draft in general. It went very smoothly. The number one thing that I love in this world to sit back and just lose my mind to is sports. And I have been sitting here in my room during this quarantine, rotting away my brain while this has been going on. So it was really nice to get away from that and get some sense of sports and community with the rest of America over this thing that we call football. And it went without really any hiccups. And you know, the biggest thing that I noticed is how I didn't even realize until after it was done, because I felt like I was watching a regular draft. It was so smooth. There was really no technical difficulties. It probably couldn't have gone any better than it did. And I gotta say, man, chillin' Roger Goodell is my favorite Roger Goodell. That's how he should look when he's sitting in that goddamn motherfucking chair. He needs to be in every single meeting with the player that he's about to discipline, just like that. That would be hard. What's a player gonna say? What's a player gonna think? You're just gonna do it, man. You know what I mean? So that's cool. I thought it went I thought it went well. Roger Goodell did a good job. And man, they raised $100 million apparently for COVID-19 relief. Beautiful job, NFL. I applaud you. My favorite thing of the entire draft by far was the different times that it would cut to Bill Belichick's war room. Not only is this man the greatest coach of all time, probably one of the most paid, richest coaches of all time, but he lives in a simplistic house. His house looks like a real house. Did you notice that with this draft? Everybody's house just seems so unreal. Even the people who are getting drafted, even the players who are getting drafted who haven't even made it yet. Some of those houses, man, they wasn't about 50 times better than my damn house, man. I was jealous. It was nice. And they get to have even nicer houses now. So congratulations to you guys. But goddamn, Bill Belichick, that's a real dude. He don't give a fuck, man. He just wants to go out there and play football. And I respect the fuck out of that. And then when they do cut to him, he's either not there because he doesn't really give a fuck about the theatrics. He doesn't care about the media. But then his dog was sitting there. That was such like not a Belichick move at all. So I really did appreciate that. That was good. But overall, man, there's a few other things that I can talk about with the draft, and I'm gonna make a whole separate video about that, specifically diving more into my Dolphins here. But I think draft was good. I enjoyed it a lot, and they seem to improve on it every year. It really has become one of the biggest things in America. You gotta give it to them, man, because no other draft really besides, the NBA draft gets on that level. And man, that doesn't even go over the span of a couple days, man. This keeps our attention for 3 days straight. And it's, whether you're getting trades going or you're getting superstars, man, it's just something that you need to see. You get to grow with these players. And it was a good time. I appreciated it a lot. Alright, on to the next thing. Oh, you know what? Before we go to the next thing, I did want to talk about something that bugged the fuck out of me. And I realized that the players probably had to give permission before they put this thing on national TV. But man, what is up with the endless sob stories? They would go into such detail on some of the most horrendous things that went on in people's lives. Things that they probably either, one, didn't want the rest of the world to know, But like I said, they might have had to give permission. But on the other hand, man, just having to see that on the screen and maybe relive that trauma would be awful. Talking about how, man, parents dying. And man, did you realize too that they didn't even talk about the people who didn't have hard times? It was crazy, man. They were really, ESPN, they were really saying, man, oh, this kid here has two very good parents. He has an incredibly loving brother and sister who are completely healthy, who are doing just fine in life. And he has some of the best coaching staff and mentors that they could ask for. Boom, move on. But if a kid had fucking drug addicted parents, their fucking dad died in a fucking homicide, and then they were in an accident, their fucking mom died of cancer, they go on about it for fucking like 10 minutes. 3 draft picks have already gone on. And I understand, man, those stories really do show what some of these players have gone through. It really humbles you too, as well as a viewer, to realize that, you know, these people went through some hard shit and they still got to this point. So you got to step up and work, man. And, you know, it really gives you respect towards those players. But at the same time, man, some of that shit was wild. I just don't think that all of that needs to be displayed out on national TV. I'm not going to go into too much detail about what some of the things they were talking about, but, you know, if you were watching, you know. Seen a lot of it talked about online. It was really crazy with some of them. Some of them, you know, is cool. You know, and like I said, they probably had to give permission before they talked about it. And I even see, I think one of the ones that was really bad to me was T. Higgins talking about how his mom and sister had struggled with drug abuse. And he then later tweeted this, I think I seen it today or yesterday, I can't remember the day, it's just kind of blend together, that he didn't mind sharing that because he wanted to show how strong his family was, and he was proud of where they were in life now. And I get that. But man, sometimes I just think it was a little too much sometimes. I think in some parts it really took away from the draft and the positive emotion that can go with it. God damn, you see this hair, bro? Need to see my barber, man. I guess it's not too bad. It's not as bad as I've seen some people, man. All right, we are for sure now done with the draft. On to the next. You cannot talk about the week without talking about Donald Trump. This man went on national TV, and before he actually went on national TV, just looked at a little diagram, a board of information that was right behind him. And it read, you know, it listed things that might or does kill COVID-19. And one of those things on that list was disinfectant. So Trump looked at that diagram real hard. That man used his excellent brain and thought of, why are we just not putting disinfectants in our body? Are you fucking stupid? That would kill all of the virus. It's brilliant. How did anybody not think of that? It's gonna work. It will kill everything in your body, including the COVID-19. So that's a victory in my book. You believe that's a real thing? But what bothers me the most, man, is there are people sitting in that motherfucking room who know that motherfucking man must be tripping on something, and they still don't say nothing. They don't say a thing. I know, man, in a lot of workplaces, you say something like that, people are going to say something. There's always someone, man. There's always one person that has to say something. So it really makes me wonder, who is saying, is there anybody saying anything to that man behind closed doors? Can it even just, his daughter, his son, someone just say something, man? And then he later said he was just being sarcastic. You listen back to the clip and it just doesn't seem like he's being sarcastic. And then he even doubled down on what he said too right after that. And, you know, I would go into showing clips and whatnot of that, but man, it's just so ridiculous. I really don't want to bring enough attention to it. I see it all over the news now. And I understand, man, people make mistakes and it's cool, but, you know, as the president of the United States, I think you should be able to go up there and say something more informative. And after this came out, he said too that he is now thinking about the value, the those briefings even really bring anything of value to the people of this country? And that's a very valid question. And I would say, yeah, you probably don't have to necessarily do them all day, every day. You know, I don't know how long they do it for, but he doesn't have to do it every day like he has been doing. I think, you know, just get your information, have your people write out some shit so you don't have to wing it and say something ridiculous on there. Just get a list of things, maybe go up there every 3 days to give people updates. And you're very good with your Twitter, so maybe do Twitter updates every day, but make sure it's proofread by your people. It's really not that hard, man. And I think that's, and I'm not even saying that only Trump should do this. I think this is something that everybody should do, especially when you're in that position dealing with things that have, when you say something in that position, man, especially during a time like this, it just means that much more. We need correct information so people do not go out there and spread it and do not kill themselves by drinking bleach, bro. So that being said, man, I just think, yeah, we need to stop those briefings every day, slow down, and it's probably time that we let other people speak. And I know that might not ever happen, but it's okay, bro. Just listen to scientists, the doctors, the people who know what's really going on. Listen to your CDC director. Listen to CDC guidelines. And now you may say, well, they're saying everything the opposite of Trump. That's the point. Listen to the people who actually study this stuff. Think about all the stuff that Trump has to think about in a day. I cannot expect him to go up there and be a virus expert. I'm not expecting him to do that, but I am expecting him to listen to everybody around him who is a virus expert, who is an economic expert. And you may say that Trump knows economics, but he's not going to be as smart as some of the other people, and that's just a fact. Because, okay, that's not necessarily that he's smart, he's just not going to, he's not as smart as them. He's not going to know the system as well as them. People have different places, people are in different positions, they know different things. It cannot hurt to listen to other people, especially when it comes to economics, even though Mr. Trump is an expert on economics, right? Just listen to other people, man. Take in different things. And I'm not saying to go just look at one scientist, one CDC member, or even believe everything that everybody is saying because of their position. Take information from different areas, put it together, and use your head, man. If you have 25 people saying one thing and then you have 3 people saying another, I would focus more on what the 25 people are saying. Of course, you gotta listen to listen to the people who are saying something completely different. But if it's outrageous compared to the other 25, man, use your head. Just use your head, analyze it, look at different sources. That's all I ask. Just don't look at one thing. That's how you put yourself in a box. That's how you put yourself in a box. But just don't put yourself in a fucking box. Jump out that mug. Thank you. We're not going to get too much into that because I am just losing my mind. And, before we even go further, I do want to say thank you to all of the frontline workers, all the people who are risking their health and their safety every single day. It is getting to the point now where people are getting very angry. We might see a potential wave again. We might see a potential second wave is what I meant to say. So I thank you frontline workers, you essential workers, you the ones that are out there really risking your lives out there, man. Working hard hours, putting in that overtime, dealing with all the bullshit that Americans give, and man, speaking internationally, just dealing with all the shit that humans give you. All the shit that humans do. Thank you for dealing with that and helping and giving as much energy as you can to fixing and helping in this pandemic. We got a long road ahead, but if we all come together, I really do think that we can solve this. And we can then sit down and worry about what we'll do in the future. But right now, we need to focus on how to get this thing done. We need to put all of our power, be patient, but put all of our power together and work together and get this shit killed together. We're gonna kill that motherfucking virus. My candle just went out. Where's the ladder, boy? All right. So thank you, frontline workers. Thank you, essential workers. It's difficult. I have my girlfriend. She works as a CNA, and it's tough. I can imagine in those nursing homes, man, all those people who can't really see their family. There's people who, who are passing without getting to see their family again, and it's just awful, man. So just keep everybody that are on the front lines working every day, keep them in your thoughts, keep them in your prayers, and let's get through this together. Okay, guys, we got this. Last thing I wanted to talk about was something that really not a lot of people are going to care about, but I'm going to care about, and that is comic books. I recently just gotten back into them. I used to be a huge comic book fan where I would buy them like every fucking week, spend fucking hundreds of dollars a month, damn near, on these. But then I kind of, got a little busy in life and just lost track of what I was doing. And then the movies were coming out and I was kind of just cool sitting with those, but now I've had this extra time on my hand and I'm getting back into comics. And now I'm hearing, because of this pandemic, the whole comic book the whole comic book industry really might collapse. What the fuck? That was bound to happen at some point. It's kind of a dead medium in a way, especially when the majority of the people that like it, you would think would be kids, but it is in fact people who are my age and up. The only people who seem to be reading comic book nowadays are the middle-aged men. People who are maybe slightly older than me too. And it's a shame, but Marvel, DC, Image, any comic book company you can think of has been using a company called Diamond as their main distribution company for their paper comics, right? I'm not talking digital. Well, I think they do the distribution digitally too, but I'm talking specifically about the paper. Because of that, the whole pandemic, the damn Diamond company is collapsing. Now they allowed a monopoly for some reason. They allowed only one company to have the power to distribute their things. It's a great idea, right? If that company collapses, we'll just be fine, right? What the fuck? No. So now, all the comics have already had their numbers going down, but now they may not even have a way to distribute them, which is kind of scary. So then you would think, well, why don't they just do digital comics? It's a smart idea. I mean, it's been in the workings for decades now that we're moving away from paper and we're using computers, laptops, iPads, tablets, cell phones, all that shit. No one's using paper anymore, so it made sense to go digital. But what doesn't make sense to me, my biggest gripe with the comic book industry as a whole, is it's too damn expensive. And I understand they're collapsing and they kind of need to raise prices to prevent them from collapsing. But if those prices keep going up, man, no one's going to buy them. Like I said, the majority of the people who are reading these are adults, and you would think that it would be kids, but these damn kids can't afford to read these damn comics. It's a shame. I love comics. It gives great stories, and man, sometimes I like to take a break from reading my books and just read essentially like a picture book. I get to see a visual of some of my favorite characters of all time. They're too expensive. And like I said before, when I started talking about this, I was spending upwards of, damn near a couple hundred. Maybe not in a month, but over the span of a couple of months, and that's just too much. That was one of the reasons why I did stop. It was just getting to the point where it wasn't worth it. And then it was more worth it to buy trade paperback, that's what it's called. When you'd get a trade paperback, but even those, man, those would be like $20-25 sometimes, and it's just not worth it. Now, it would be great if these were more accessible digitally, which I can now pull up on here, which is great. With this quarantine, I have actually done a subscription to Marvel Unlimited, which has been great because now I get to read a lot of comics that I didn't get to read because I couldn't afford them, and instead of paying hundreds of dollars for them, I get to do $10 a month, which is, I think, a great model. But you also don't get the newest ones. You have to wait 6 months, and I get that they want people to buy the individual copies of the comics, but when you do that, like I said, it's too expensive. So you're going to have diminishing returns, you're going to have diminishing sales because you keep putting the price up. So it's cool, man. You get to go through all these comics, and let's see.
I've never read this one, but you know, it's cool, man. You get to see all this stuff, and I really do. Can you turn? I do enjoy this, man. It is pretty cool to do stuff like this, and I think if there was more like this and it was more easily accessible, more people would do it. You know, manga has been going up, comics have been going down, even though comic book movies have been raking in billions and billions of fucking dollars. So why are these companies continuing to fuck up, man? They need to make things cheaper, and they need to figure it out before they collapse, because if they collapse, I'll be really sad. And this was more me just talking about it. I know I could have gone into more detail and given you more information on what's really going on, but the fact is that they relied on one company and one company only. All of these companies did. All of these comic book companies relied on this one company, Diamond. And they're about to be no more. So I'm interested to see how that's going to affect the comic book business as a whole. Will it just take it down? And man, I gotta tell you, the comic book companies are not doing themselves any favors by putting out bullshit content. I don't even want to get into some of the SJW stuff that they do. Good stories like that anymore. There's a couple, man, that are still really good, and I'll keep reading, of course. And you know, they put out the gem every once in a while. I don't know. They gotta fix it up. I'm gonna keep a close eye on it, and I'm gonna continue to read the comics I like, to show support for the creators that I like and the stories and characters that I like. I'll continue to do that and support the comic book companies as much as I can. But at the end of the day, if they don't fix what they're doing, man, it's not gonna matter what anybody does. They gotta get it together. So I don't know if you guys found that interesting. Are you a comic fan? Are you a football fan? Are you a Trump fan? Are you a disinfectant Clorox fan? Do you drink that shit on the daily? Is it actually good for you? Does it actually kill COVID-19? And are you a frontline worker? Are you an essential worker? How is life for you right now? Tell me down below. Let's start some new conversations. I want to meet new people, talk to new people, creating new content for everybody. So if you like this video, please hit the like button down below. If you are new and you want to stay and you want to see more of your little baby boy Jameson, please hit that subscribe button. I need more subscribers, man. I'm thirsty. I'm dying. And like I said below, comment. Let's have some discussions. Thank you for watching. This is End of the Week with your boy Jameson, and I go by the name of Jameson. Have a good rest of your day, guys.